Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine and today's video is going to be a monthly reseller recap for January 2023. So if that's something you want to see, then please stick around. So if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. On this channel, I'd like to do a mixture of beauty content and reselling content because both of those things are something that I absolutely love and they are my hobbies. So why not talk about them together on this channel? So today's video, like I said in the intro, this is actually going to be a monthly series that I've been doing for about a year now. Basically, it's my reseller recap. So I go over my month prior of what I've resold on multiple different platforms like Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, eBay, pretty much a lot of different platforms that you can sell on. And I kind of just go over everything that, like all of my numbers, basically try to be as transparent as possible because I am a part-time reseller and just kind of show to you, you know, this could be a side hustle if you're interested in it. If not, it's just kind of interesting to see what side hustles are out there, I guess. So to get started with, I always like to go over my total numbers. And if you've been with me for a little bit, at least the past 2 months of 2022, so November and December, they were terrible months for me. I will leave those videos up in the corner for you if you want to see the misery of what they were. This month was better. It just wasn't the best. It wasn't what I was hoping for. So let's just say that. So it was better, just not what I was hoping for. So to read off my notes, my total sales for the month of January across all the platforms was $500.30. Again, that's not something that I aim for. Obviously I aim for higher, but that is what it was this month. My cost of goods was $131.15 and my profit was $369.15. So again, if you've seen any of my videos, I am a part-time reseller. So my full-time job is as a mental health therapist at a local community health agency where I live. So most of my week is spent doing that. And if you can hear that in the background, the cats are scratching at something. So most of my week is spent doing that. And then my weekends are spent reselling, thrifting, sourcing, whatever you want to call it, listing, all that kind of stuff. So I don't have the time to dedicate full time. So I get part-time numbers. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't work part-time and get full-time numbers. I just have not quite figured out that flow yet. There are a lot of great resellers on here who are part-time who can make like a full-time living off of it. So I'm just not one of them at this time. So what I like to say, my profit is because I'm a part-time seller. I do like to keep my profits at like $750. That's, you know, give or take a little bit each month, but that's where I feel most comfortable. I feel where it's actually worth my time to do all this kind of stuff. So obviously this month fell quite short of that. So some of my averages, so my cost of goods, so what I pay for inventory, this month it averaged out to $8.20 per item, which again is relatively high. But you'll see some of the things that I sold were some items that I did pay up for, which obviously accounts into all the averages. I do like to keep my cost of goods as low as possible. Obviously, you know, buy low, sell high. So what I'm comfortable with is right around like the $5 mark and less. So this month it was a little bit more expensive. My average listing price was about $40 and my average profit per item was about $23.07, and my average days to sell was 43 days. So I always like to look at that too, because sometimes if you know your average is 43 days from now is going to be a different season. So maybe you start listing some spring stuff now, maybe even some summer stuff now to sell in 43 days. Total sales, I only had 16 sales, again, on the lower side of stuff. I had 11 on Poshmark, 2 on Mercari, 1 on Reseller, which was what Tradesy turned into basically, or they merged or something like that. So that merger takeover, whatever you want to call it, that happened about what, October 2022, something like that. So, and I use a relisting, or I should say a, what do you want to call it? Like a listing service. I use Vendu, which my code is down below if you're ever interested in trying it. I absolutely love it. Sorry, my cats are fighting on the side. I use that, and I use Posture VA to help with sharing and providing offers to people. Again, both services 100% recommend. Both my referral codes are down below if you are interested in trying them. So what I was trying to say is that because Tradesy is no longer, and that was a platform on Vendu, hopefully they are figuring out the Vestair platform, because at that time, basically everything just transferred from Tradesy to Vestair, and I can't delist it or relist it. I like literally have to go manually do it. So I knew it would take a while to kind of get a sale on there. So it took about a few months before that little switch over to happen. And actually this month in February, I've sold 1 or 2 things on there as well. So it's picking up speed. So 1 on Vestair and 2 on Depop, which makes that 16 total. So what I like to do is I like to go over my 5 lowest profits and my 5 highest profits. So with 16 sales total, you know, it's most of the sales are going to be accounted for in here, but let's go ahead and I will put some pictures up here so you can actually see what the item is. All right, so starting with the lowest of the low, I sold a pair of H&M in collaboration with Isabel Marant. They were these boys jeans. I sold them on Poshmark for $8. My cost of goods was $5.86. So if you do all the math, I actually lost 81 cents on those, which I was okay with just because I am very, very much primarily a women's accessories reseller. I don't really find much interest in kids' clothes. Really, the only times I come across kids' clothes if they're accidentally put into the women's section. So those jeans were pretty much everything that I have found for kids' clothes that I have listed has been accidentally in the women's section. So those were, I picked them up at a buy-sell trade store called Uptown Cheapskate. So obviously they must not have known that they were kids, and I must not have known they were kids when I picked them up until I started listing them. So I just wanted them to be gone. They did sell within 206 days of relisting it 2 times. So I am very much for relisting items, but I'm pretty sure I've relisted those more than twice. So that might not be accurate within 2 times of relisting it. How I know that is because I do a color coding system on my Excel sheet, so I know how many times I've relisted items. But I just feel like that one's not accurate. I don't know. Usually I try not to lose money on things that I've only relisted twice, but maybe I was just like, I'd rather be rid of them. Who knows? So the next item was a Starbucks, this really pretty Starbucks iridescent tumbler to go drink. I sold it on Mercari for $9. My cost of goods was $3. It actually was missing the metal straw, which I'm sure originally it came with it, but you can go and purchase your own metal straw, which honestly I would feel more comfortable doing anyways if I was the one buying it. And it did have some, cats heard their food. It did have some like dings on it, so it wasn't in the perfect shape, so I was okay with letting it go for $9. And then on Mercari, the fees are lower. So my profit was $4.34, and it sold within 116 days of the first time listing it. The next item was this CP Shades Velvet Slip Dress. Really pretty. It was new with tags. I actually picked this up. I've had this forever. I picked it up on ThredUp during the pandemic when we couldn't go out and source at all. So I was sourcing on ThredUp, and to be honest, I was not sourcing very smart, if you will, because the cost of goods for this dress was $35.34. So that's one of those items that definitely brought the average sales up. or average cost of goods up. It did sell on Poshmark for $50. I think that was on a offer to me. So I profited $4.66, and it was the 5th time relisting it and 28 days within that 5th time of relisting it. So it was at the point where I was about to go to a buy sell trade store and just be done with it. So I'm glad I still made money on it. That's the point of it. But it's $4.66 for something that you took the time sourcing, photographing, relisting 5 times. Is that worth it? No. So I'm definitely learning to source smarter. It's always an ongoing process. So the next item was this pair of Hudson dark wash slim jeans. They were a very small size. I think they were size 24 if I'm not mistaken. My cost of goods was $3.50. I think I picked those up at a garage sale if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, they sold on Poshmark for $20, so my profit was $12.50, and they sold 62 days within the 4th time of relisting it. So definitely small sizes do take some time to resell. I think that's kind of across the board. Please correct me if you're a reseller that sells a lot of small sizes. Please let me know what your trick is, because it does definitely deter me to pick them up. Just because historically it takes me a while to sell them. So the last item in my lowest profit category is this ONeill play suit. It's almost like I listed it as like a swimsuit cover up. I sold it on Poshmark for $18. My cost of goods was $1. There is a buy sell trade store here in Arizona that will do dollar days, so I always like to hit up those dollar days and find a lot of stuff. This product also was new with tags. My profit was $13.40. It took 5 days of relisting in the 4th time of relisting it. So the great thing about Vendu is that you can easily relist and delist and relist items super quickly, and I have gotten into that habit just because you want to keep things, to appease the algorithm gods of whatever platform you're on. It is pretty consistent that you want to list items consistently for your algorithm score, whatever you want to call it, to be high. So when I'm not feeling the motivation to actually list new items, I will delist and relist a lot of items. And so a lot of these times, these items are getting relisted a little bit faster in between, about 2 to 3 months in between things. So that's why a lot of times you'll see that it's like 4th or 5th time relisting. So now going into the highest profiting items. So the first one was this BCBG Max Azria like bandage bodycon dress. This honestly, I took pictures of it forever ago. I noticed that there was like a little discoloration. I washed it, and it was just hanging in my death pile forever. Like, I already had pictures of it. I already had the listing like created. I should have said I needed to redo the pictures with once the discoloration came out, but the listing was like ready. I typed everything out. Anyways, my cost of goods was $6.16. I sold it on Poshmark for $40. I profited $25.84. It took 8 days within that 1st time of listing it. So I guess the word to the wise, don't let things sit in your death pile. It was sitting there forever. Also, the interesting thing about this dress is, so if I'm not mistaken, BCBG and I'm gonna butcher the name, Hervé Leger, those like really popular bandage style dresses. I think they're like owned by the same company, or they have very similar RN numbers. So this particular dress did not have the BCBG Max Azria like label in it, but it did have the care tag, and the care tag came up with a like corporate number, whatever. So I did a little bit more sleuthing, and it came up as BCBG Max Azria. So I just listed it as that, but there was also a lot of other items that looked exactly the same listed under different manufacturers, producers, whatever you want to call it. So I couldn't be for sure. So I just listed that in the listing that this is, hey, this is the information that I found. It could be a different item. Regardless, somebody bought it for $40 and they were super sweet. They said they were using it for their engagement photo shoot. So I was happy to sell it to them. The next item was a Dolce Vita Western bootie, really fun little bootie with like fringe and everything, super cute. If it was my size, I definitely would have kept it. I sold it on Mercari for $40, which is actually a little bit surprising, and I'll tell you why. My cost of goods was $7.83, so I profited $25.89, and it sold within 6 days of the first time listing it. And these actually, like when I first picked them up, I just thought they were super cute. And a lot of times in thrift stores, I'm like on a clock with, you know, my husband waiting for me or whatnot. So I don't always have the most time to check things over. And so when I got them home, I just noticed they weren't in the best condition. And, you know, especially spending almost $8 on them, you're like, oh no. So I listed them high though, still sold within an offer of 40. I think I listed them at $60 and somebody offered me 40. So I was like, heck yeah, I'll take it. You can still list things that have flaws and blemishes and everything. Just make sure you disclose it. The next item, which is another reason the power of relisting is what I like to say, is I sold this Victoria's Secret like baby doll lingerie little thing. It was new with tags. My cost of goods was $2. I'm quite certain I picked that up at a garage sale in my area. Sold on Poshmark for $44, literally the same day as I relisted it for the 4th time, which profited me $31.48. So what I like to do is I kind of have a system within my closet, with my Poshmark closet, where I will the things that I'm about to relist, you know, I kind of sort things from just in. So if you scroll all the way down, those are like your oldest listings. Those are the items I know that I'm going to relist. And then I will actually put them on discount before I relist them. Like a few times I'll discount them like pretty heavily. So I want to say this lingerie piece, I got down to like $10, literally relisted it within like an hour. Somebody had made an offer. So power of relisting is important. All right, so my next item I sold was these Pompili, I think that's how you pronounce it. These really cool like lace up mid-calf booties. I don't know if they were vintage or something. They were super cool looking. They sold on Depop for $100. My cost of goods was $7.03 and I profited $59.35. These actually sold internationally to Canada. So we'll talk about that in a bit regarding international sales, but basically just account for shipping. But anyways, these sold within 4 days of listing for the first time. So these were super cool. They took a while to ship. I should say to get to their destination. I shipped them promptly. They took a while to get to their destination. And so I had to kind of communicate with the seller back and forth, but eventually they got them and they loved them. And then the last item and the highest profiting item for January was these beautiful Haan knee-high boots that had this like beautiful suede lace-up detailing on the front. Absolutely gorgeous. The cost of goods for these was just under $20, so $19.79. I sold them on Poshmark for $120, which profited me $76.21, and it took 5 days to sell within the first time of listing. I think I listed them for $150. Somebody offered me $120 and I accepted it right away. It was kind of a funny story about this. I know I shared it in one of my thrift hauls, which I can link up my thrift haul playlist up above if you just want to binge watch it. Is I was coming from, I live in Southern Arizona and I was traveling up to Northern Arizona. We were at a Goodwill that we always go to when we stop up there. And this is when I was on a time crunch. I had made my purchases and then I was like, hey, you know, it's a long car ride. I'm going to go to the bathroom really quick and then we'll head out. As I was heading to the bathroom, I found these boots that were not there originally, so somebody must have put them back. I came back from the bathroom, snagged them. Haan. I'm a sucker for Haan. I have no idea why. Well, I do. They're good quality. And I just picked them up and bought them right there. And the woman's like, do you want to try them on? And I was like, no, I'm good. So pretty cool that they sold super quickly into listing him, especially since I had almost 20 bucks invested. So happy about that. All right, so I always like to kind of do my reflections, if you will, about this month and the numbers, because I think it's important to know your numbers and to kind of direct your business in the way you want to take it. So definitely did better than November and December. I actually think combined I did better, so that's great. So that's an upward trajectory from the previous crappy month, but I think in comparison to January 2022, I didn't look at those numbers before, but I think I did like half as well this month than I did last year, so that's not super good. Which again, then it makes you think, I mean, yes, a year has happened, economy-wise, you know, maybe people don't have as much discretionary funds, especially with inflation and whatnot. So that could be playing a part. I also took note of like Poshmark Live started really heavily going in, what was that, October 2022, sometime around that area. And I definitely think that is affecting some traditional sellers too, who I don't even have access to Poshmark Lives. I don't have access to them. I could get access to like Whatnot, shows like that, which I still contemplate doing just to unload a lot of inventory, you know, for at cost, basically, because I'm just overwhelmed with inventory. My other thing was, so I have had a few international sales, especially those Pompili boots. So make sure, and typically, I shouldn't say typically, that's a huge generalization, but the people who I have done international sales with, and even I guess almost international sales with, is they will ask, do you ship internationally? And it typically is on Depop, for me at least, the international sales. So what I'll do, you know, I had Canada, I had somebody from Iceland, I had somebody, oh, there goes my light. Somebody from somewhere else, and I can't quite remember what the country was, but I'll go in and I'll go to pirate ship, because you would have to do your own shipping, at least through Depop. And so I'll go through pirate ship and just get like a general shipping cost. And then if you scroll down, there should be a spot where it's like, if you choose to do international shipping, you would just put it there. But it has been quite expensive, and that has deterred a lot of people, and they're like, wow, it's so expensive. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's expensive to ship across the world. So just be careful with that and accounting into, you know, what shipping internationally, the shipping cost. And some of my last thoughts, I've already talked about the power of relisting. So, you know, if you don't relist, which I was like that too, I was like, oh, it'll eventually sell, I don't have to worry about it, I'm not going to put my time into relisting. No, you really should. You really should put your time into relisting, especially if you don't have new items coming in. If you relist them, a lot of the times the systems will think that they are new listings, and then that appeases algorithm gods. So really, you should be relisting your items. Last thing is, my consistency has still been slacking a little bit. Like I'll get some really good momentum going, and then it just kind of peters out. So I am still trying to find a system that works best for me, that you know, is gonna work for somebody who works full time. And everybody has their own systems, and mine are always evolving. So there is that. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I am hoping February is going to be a better month. As of right now, I am filming this on Super Bowl Sunday, so it is the 12th of February, and my sales aren't that great. So I don't know what reseller recap will entail for next month, but hopefully it picks up. Again, like I said, I do makeup content. You can't really see because my light just went out, but I do have this really pretty kind of like casual Valentine's-y look on. I did use my Natasha Denona retro palette, which in the corner I can link up my February Shop My Stash if you want to see what items that I am wearing. And with that, please consider subscribing if you like content like this, and leave a like on this video if you liked it, leave a comment, do all the wonderful YouTube things. My YouTube, I have noticed a very clear positive trajectory of the growth of this channel, so that is always wonderful. It's so cool to see something grow that you put a lot of time and effort in, just so naturally and organically. So it's like my little baby. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.